Support for Horror Movie Talk comes from our friends at Multi-Missile Mortgage by Speedy Loans. They understand that homes play a big role in your polygamous marriage. That's why they created Multi-Missile Mortgage. Multi-Missile Mortgage gives you the confidence you need when it comes to buying a second home or refinancing your existing home loan for an expansion. Polygamy is complicated, but housing your families doesn't have to be. Whether you're looking to buy your second home or your 10th, or whether your wives know about each other or not. With Multi-Missile Mortgage, you get an easy, discreet online process that gives you the confidence to make an informed decision. It's convenient. Our trusted partners allow you to share your financial information with Multi-Missile Mortgage at the touch of a button. Multi-Missile Mortgage by Speedy Loans. Apply easy. Commit fully. Mortgages multipliable. To get started, go to multimissilemortgage.com/HMT. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, MMLS, Consumer Access Org, number 6969. Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk, an opinionated and accidentally funny horror movie review show. Your panel of expert hosts each week are Dr. Bryce Hansen, who holds a PhD in spookology, and Professor David Day, the foremost expert in scare no-nos. New theatrical releases always get priority, but we also review older horror movies, both good and horrible. I'm Bryce Hansen.
Whoa! It was like a Ducati or something. What were you just now? And I'm David Day.
Welcome to our little show. Check us out at our website, horrormovietalk.com. There you'll find links to all our social media and past episodes and our blogs on horror movie topics. We'll talk about our latest blogs coming up. You should know, and we want you to know, that we post every Wednesday. So please subscribe, and more importantly, leave a rating if you like us. If you don't like us, leave a rating you like us. Yeah. Anyways, we're trying to get to 200 ratings by the 2-year point of the podcast, and we're coming up on month, 15?
Something
like that. So we got a ways to go. Also, if you're wanting to add a little more positivity into your life, check out The Positivicast by David Day, a daily short podcast, 3 to 5 minutes of little nuggets of positivity that you can deposit in your brain.
Right now I've been focusing on my series, continuing the series, where I just look around the room and try and find things within the room to spin positively. I was talking to an old friend, and he said, it's like listening to, he was describing it to his wife, and he said, it's like listening to what can't Adam complain about, but in reverse. What can't David talk nicely about?
Uh-huh. All right. So anyways, let's get on to the show. We got a great show today. We're today to kick, fuck.
You should leave
All right, let's start.
Leave it in.
Trust me, we've got a great show.
We got a great show. Fucking fuck.
It was really good, Jimmy. It's a really good show once we edit it. Today, to kick off October, we'll be talking about Halloween 2.
Oh, more like Halloween Boo.
This is the 1982 Halloween 2, not to be confused with the
Rob Zombie
2009 Halloween 2.
Yeah, I believe so.
So every episode we start out by giving a brief review and our score for the movie. We score on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a miserable dredge, where it makes you angry, 5 being a completely average film that hits all the expected marks, and 10 being so good that it transcends genre boundaries. After we give our score, we'll get into spoilers and take a deeper dive into what we liked and hated about the film. And then later, we're going to play a game called Attack of the Rotten Tomatoes game.
Oh, I love this.
And this is a themed one. It's going to be Halloween versus Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh.
We're going to pit
the two franchises
together, and you have to pick which one scored higher.
On Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, okay. That's cool. I actually, that's it. You said Nightmare on Elm Street?
Mm-hmm.
I just got done, an hour ago, I just got done watching Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warrior.
An hour ago?
Yeah. We started watching it last night, and then we fell asleep, so
Oh, okay.
just picked it back up in the morning.
I was gonna say you got up at like 5 in the morning.
That's right.
To watch. Okay, we're committed to horror movies here at Horror Movie Talk.
That's right.
Just 24/7. We're watching horror movies, even though we only review one a week.
It is October. It's time to start watching horror movies 24 hours a day. I don't know if you people know this, but that's what we do in October.
All right, well, let's get into the movie. Halloween 2008 would have you believe that Halloween 2 never happened, but it did happen. We watched it, and we're going to talk about it. God damn it.
Yeah.
Here is the trailer.
I shot him 6 times. I shot him in the heart. This man, he's not human.
Universal Pictures presents Halloween 2, More of the Night He Came Home.
Who is it?
There was nothing within him, neither conscience nor reason, that wasn't even remotely human. This is some kind of a joke. I've been trigger-treated to death tonight. You don't know what death is.
Janet, go tell Mr. Garrett we're having trouble with the phones.
There is no place to hide. He will always find you.
What's this? It's a Celtic word. It means the Lord of the Dead.
Mr. Garrett?
We're still here. We'll be with you in a minute. Lots of scary stuff happening right now.
Halloween 2, More of the Night He Came Home.
What?
Halloween 2. More of that type of thing.
Okay. That trailer was ridiculous. It was absolutely absurd. And
Well, the audio.
I mean, yeah, it's
if-
probably a lot more effective if you're actually watching it. I would assume. There's just a lot of shots going off. Pow, 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 pow.
We'll provide the link to the YouTube
Speaking of
video of the trailer on the post or
Yeah.
in the episode notes.
Speaking of shots going off, I got to warn you, Bryce. I'm awfully gassy this morning, and it is a totally different brand. Last night, my wife was remarked as saying, "I've never smelled that out of you before. I hate it." Oh boy! So we're just gonna play a game.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this yesterday on Steam Chat.
On
in
real
detail.
Steam Chat.
Yeah.
Real steamy.
Hot Steam Chat. Yeah, both me and David are experiencing a weird digestive moment.
We won't go too far into it, but just to let you know, it's
We don't want to
it's hot.
offend the delicate sensibilities of our audience, but
We have some very beautiful female listeners that I just don't want to upset, but
we've been taking some hot shits, like real hot shits, like shitting stomach acid burning.
okay, let's just dial it back.
And so I was
Hang on,
telling
just-
David how it felt like my anus was being digested.
All right. Thank you very much.
This disturbs David.
It's not that
So
it
I'm not
disturbs me. It's just that I'm just not interested.
He just does not want to picture my acid swollen anus.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, there it is for everyone. I just
that's
got
why-
done complimenting our listeners and how beautiful some of the ladies are. I'm sure we got beautiful men too.
They love this shit.
I'm sure we
Literally.
got beautiful men too.
Uh-huh.
And
Well, we
that-
got Magnus.
That's for damn sure. Damn.
Where was he from? Sweden?
Yeah.
Swedish god of a man.
Yeah. And for some reason he likes the show.
Yeah.
I don't know what we did, but
Yeah.
I think we should do everything in our power to make Magnus an internet celebrity.
Uh-huh.
I don't think it'll be that hard. It's not that much of a stretch. You know?
He's just some guy in Sweden. Pretty much anyone in Sweden could probably become an internet celebrity if they
Dude,
just posted some videos every
what's
once
the
in a while.
deal with this place? Why
don't
is
know.
everyone so beautiful?
I don't know.
Halloween 2.
I mean, I got a bunch of Norwegian blood and I look like this, so
Yeah.
it's
Well,
something about, I don't know,
I don't know. I
being
think
cold, I guess. All right, Halloween 2. Halloween 2 can be found on HBO Now/Go right now. HBO Now. Which is unfortunate because I just canceled my subscription last week.
I did notice that.
And so we had to rent it, and it's on everywhere else where you do that type of thing.
Yeah, it's just not on Amazon, but it is on YouTube.
No, it's on Amazon to rent.
I don't think it is because
that's
Amazon
where I
just
watched it.
Oh, really? It
Yeah.
refers me. It basically tells me, hey, you gotta go ahead and subscribe to HBO Go if you want to watch this movie. Is what it says.
Yeah,
to me.
there's a couple options. You could subscribe to HBO Go or rent it or buy it.
That's weird that it doesn't even offer
Yeah.
me the option.
Amazon is weird because it'll have duplicate listings
Right.
of the same movie.
Weirdly inconsistent.
And sometimes it's free, and then you can find another version that's not free.
Yeah.
It's really annoying.
Yeah.
So Halloween 2 picks up right where Halloween, the first one, left off.
Literally minutes after.
Yeah. The first of the 3 movies called Halloween.
Right.
This is the sequel to that one.
Right.
Michael Myers disappears from the lawn after being shot by Dr. Loomis 6 times. Why do I remember it was 6 times, you ask? Because Dr. Loomis reminds you every time he is on screen that he shot him 6 times in the chest. Michael Myers continues killing the youth of Haddonfield in a deadly game of peekaboo with the audience. Now you see him, now you don't. Whee! This film tries to recapture the moody and dread-filled allure of the first Halloween, but doesn't really deliver. Doesn't ever really deliver, I don't think. All right,
I'm
David.
so gassy.
Oh,
This is
Jesus.
gonna be real rough.
Don't wave it towards me.
If you're gonna
Don't wave it
if you're
towards
gonna
me.
give me like loud descriptions of your butt, I'm gonna walk.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Describe it.
Oh,
Isn't it unique?
I'm stopping breathing in immediately.
Isn't it unique? It's kind of sweet.
Oh, God.
Describe it for the pod.
I can taste it.
For the pod, do it.
Well, it smells like shit. So there's that. Oh, okay.
Halloween.
Most of the interesting parts of the original were leading up to the killing spree at night when the Shape is stalking Laurie and her friends. In this movie, it's just the third act of the first film the whole time. Efforts are made to tack on a story and motivation to fill out the slasher. Dr. Loomis babbles about the philosophical and historical nature of Michael's evil. And there's also a shocking revelation akin to Empire Strikes Back. That we'll get into in the spoilers, I'm sure. Other than that, character development and plot is pretty thin in this movie. The only character we really care about is Laurie, and she does nothing for most of it. She's only in like 25 minutes of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that seems about right. We do get a lot of those EMT guys and their girlfriends, their nurses. Hey, nurse!
Lots of disposable hospital staff. And anyways, however, if you enjoy kills, this film delivers them at the slow and steady pace of Michael Myers.
Yeah, this movie, man, I didn't really know what to think about it. I have remarked several times at this point. Now, just remember, everybody's different. Everybody likes different things. So just hold on to your butts. I just don't get Halloween. I just don't get it. Like, I get Friday the 13th. I get Nightmare on Elm Street. I really get Child's Play. But I just don't get Halloween. I don't get what the allure of Michael Myers is.
I get Halloween 1. I don't get the rest of them.
Yeah, sure. Right. Yeah, yes.
Michael Myers is like a blank slate of a villain. I mean, I guess so is Jason. I don't know. I mean, I don't even get Friday the 13th that much.
So with Jason, he was made fun of, and then he was killed at camp. You know?
Okay.
And so he's got a revenge thing going. So he's dead. He's huge. He's got the awesome looking hockey mask, which is kind of just badass. You know, it reaches for the badassery. You know, he's got a big machete. He's got a hockey mask. There's just a badass component to that. Mike Myers, he's got a little steak knife, and he's got a Captain Kirk mask on. And yeah, he's very stoic, but he has, as far as I can tell, his only motivation, and this is what a lot of people love about him, is that he's just a murderous psychopath. Like, that's it. Like, there's nothing more, but that's so boring to me. And Freddy is so cool. I mean, you just can't beat Freddy for cool, you know, in terms of shit that happens in the movie. Like, so many things are possible when your medium is dreams. Yeah, I mean,
Michael Myers it's a different thing. It's more of like a concept. It's kind of like It, where it's Pennywise is the personification of fear.
Yeah.
Michael Myers is kind of the personification of just pure evil and dread.
Yeah.
Just inevitable death.
But by simplifying it to that extent, it loses it for me. But so that's just my opinion.
I mean, I think that's the allure of Michael Myers, is that, and it does it better in the first film, of showing that it's like this faceless being, and it does not betray any motivation at all.
Right.
It's just, he's there, and you know he's going to do something.
And what's he doing there?
What's he doing there? What's he doing behind those sheets?
He's standing behind. There was a lot of shrubbery play in the first one as well. A lot of him standing behind, around shrubs.
Yeah, like I said, it's a deadly game of peekaboo.
A deadly, deadly game of peekaboo.
So anyways, my score for this film, I thought it was perfectly average. I did not particularly like it. I didn't particularly hate it. I watched it. I get it. It's a 5 out of 10 for me. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'd give it maybe a 6, because it was somewhat more entertaining than a lot of the films I've rated a 5. There was some nice boobage. Very nice.
True.
And not that puts it over in one whole point. I'm just saying. I
mean, it does kind of.
I'm just going down the list here. But I mean, it. In that it was literally the third act of the first movie the whole way through. It did an admirable job of doing exactly that. Like,
right.
It was the third act for an hour and a half.
Right. It's interesting how they tried to expand it.
Yeah. It felt a little stretched, but so
yeah, 5 out of 10 for me.
If you could just bring your energy down this like one skosh, that'd be great.
We were talking about Nightmare on Film Street and how successful they are as a podcast.
Is another podcast.
I mean, don't listen to them.
No, don't. I mean, no, you can listen to both. There's room enough for us and them.
Yeah. I think anyone listening to this has probably come across Nightmare on Film Street. Mm-hmm. But again, as I've talked about before, the one thing that we don't have that other really successful horror movie review podcasts have is that, well, number one, they have a woman. They have the female perspective, but the two most successful ones to me are Dead Meat and Nightmare on Film Street, which both feature very young, very, very good-looking, like, horror scene-looking couples that are very high energy. and work well on YouTube. And we are not that. And I wouldn't describe me as high energy.
Well, I mean, but here's the thing, though, is, I mean, you're right. Especially when it's something like this where I just like, yeah,
I don't care that much. Like, I think other, entertainers, people trying to entertain people with the podcast are probably injecting a lot of energy and excitement about the film throughout.
Yeah.
Like, just finding the sunny side of watching this film.
Yeah, but I feel like, I don't know, a lot of my energy, and this is why I had to start the Positivicast. So, segue. A lot of my energy I get from being angry,
Right.
and I'm good at it.
Right.
I'm like, there's no one better at being angry or spiteful than me. And so when a movie wastes my time, I feel like you do make up that energy.
Right.
The worst thing that you can be if you're looking for a lot of energy out of me is average.
Right.
Which this film is. It's just super average. And you're not going to get much. There's just not fucking anything really. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
I mean, if you just say it's a slasher, like, you understand the entirety of this movie.
Yeah, this movie is a high quality early version of the very trimmed up, well put together slasher. This is a blockbuster slasher movie, and it's one of the very first ones.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's talk briefly about how you guys can help out Horror Movie Talk and probably help out yourselves. First of all, let's talk about our Patreon. I'm just going to say that we have new tiers coming soon because I think that it might be changed by this episode release.
Probably.
We're like on the cusp of releasing some new tiers, so we might be talking about that next episode. But check us out on Patreon. You'll get access to exclusive content and little perks for our patrons, and we love you and thank you for becoming a patron to those that are our Horror Movie Talk founding members.
Members.
All 9 of them. Plus 1.
10.
Yeah. One of them's not
the
founding member. He's just being generous and dropping a little.
What was that? Was that
That's your phone.
Was that Unfriended Dark Web?
All right. This is going too long. Also, if you want to support the podcast, go to our website, horrormovietalk.com. There's a button in the banner for Amazon. If you're going to buy anything on Amazon, click through on that button, and then we'll get a little slice of whatever you pay for on Amazon. Talking about horrormovietalk.com, we have some recent blogs that you can check out. We've got a new writer that's churning out some good content. We got a blog on scary doll and puppet horror movies, and also a blog on funny horror movies. So check that out and share that on your social media so we can get the word out about Horror Movie Talk.
Yeah, thank you to Kimmy who wrote those, and check her out at the Horror Lounge. Mm-hmm. Also, if you'd like to support the show, we got Shudder. So it is the Halloween season. I don't know if you've heard, but October is Halloween month. It's not just the last day.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's Halloween month. And so what do we do on Halloween month? We just stream horror movies. And what's the best way to do that? Head on over to Shudder, that's SHUDDER.com, and check out all of the amazing streaming, the huge list of streaming shit that they have all about surrounding horror. And to give you some of that list, here we go. Bryce is holding his nose because he doesn't like the smell of my farts. So we got Creep Show, which is a new original show based on the George Romero movie Creep Show. It's a Shudder original series. We also have Korean horror movie The Wailing. We got VHS 2, The Changeling, which I believe you viewed and said it was meh. We got Terrified, which is one of my very favorite recent terror fests.
And we have an episode on that if you check out our past episodes.
Yes, we do. Also, we got the original Halloween is available on Shudder. Halloween 4, The Return of Mike Myers. Halloween 5, The Revenge of Mike Myers. Reanimator. Hellraiser. We got a ton of queer horror titles, if that's your jam. We got Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Demons by Dario Argento, Demons 2, Black Christmas, Shudder exclusive Phantasm Remastered. That's the original Phantasm remastered. And then we got Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, which we did an episode on and have not released yet. Night of the Living Dead, Kuso, which is an amazing fart movie. Critters, The New Binge, Puppet Master, The Littlest Reich, Mandy, Summer of 84. It's all on Shudder. So enter HMT at checkout and you can get the whole month free. Do it.
What was the other thing? Also, they've got like a really cool original content. I mean, Creepshow is original, but also I've watched several things that they've put out. They've got like the Joe Bob Briggs stuff.
Yeah, the drive-in, Joe Bob Briggs at the drive-in.
And they also have a really cool doc on black horror movies.
Yeah, horror
called,
noir.
Horror noir. You should check that out. Anyways, yeah, Shudder. So Patreon, Amazon, and Shudder if you want to support the show. Or if you just want to mail me a check, I'll receive that.
Yeah,
well.
we do cash checks, a money order.
All right, let's get into spoilers.
Spoilers. It's a spoilers section.
All right.
That was you.
That was David Butt.
No, it was not. That is a lie.
All right. So, Halloween 2.
He just looks at me, blinks once, and then says Halloween 2, and then like he kind of goes off into another place where he doesn't have to think about Halloween 2 too much.
So yeah, Halloween 2. Like we said, it's just an extension of the first movie.
But it's in a hospital, Bryce. How could it be an extension of the first movie if it's in a hospital?
Completely different. What this movie features is lots of Michael Myers slow walking towards people and people not figuring out how to get away from him. And also him surprising people by stabbing them or, murdering them.
There was a few moments in this movie where I was frustrated with Michael.
Yeah. Well, there's
if you
one
just sped up a little bit, you could have had her handily.
Yeah.
Like you're capable of moving a little faster than that.
Well,
no,
David, he was shot 6 times.
At least in the heart.
So it's got that happening, and then the rest of the movie is showing Dr. Loomis just spitting knowledge and like philosophical and esoteric stuff about the nature of evil and Michael Myers, and it feels so tacked on. But that was true in the first movie as well.
Yeah.
So if you like that in the first movie, he's got plenty of it here. So like it's funny seeing him like juxtaposed into like just normal people. So
prevalent.
The first
prevalent.
The first guy that comes out and talks to him and he's like, "What's going on?" This one.
I've been trick or treated to death tonight.
You don't know what death is.
I've been trick or treated to death tonight.
You don't know what death is. All right,
that
buddy,
guy's like,
slow down.
Yeah. If you were that neighbor who's like, "Are you serious? I've been trick-or-treated to death tonight." And then the guy responded, "You don't know what death is." You'd be like, "Okay, like, fuck you, buddy. Get off my lawn."
All right, asshole.
Get out of here.
I'll go find someone else to talk to.
This is obviously a trick-or-treat. This is obviously a treat.
This is like the version of like CSI Miami with David Carradine when he's like, "I guess he was trick-or-treated to death," except
no,
and then
I guess he was trick-or-treated to death.
Yeah, he made the motion to put his glasses down. So instead of the Who going, "Woo!" you got good old John Carpenter.
I've been trick or treated to death tonight.
You don't know what death is.
So just picture Dr. Loomis putting down some shades after he says that. Ow! Probably the coolest part of this movie is the intro.
Yeah, the credits.
The jack-o'-lantern with the skull inside is really cool looking.
Yeah, I'll tell you what the Halloween movies are really good for is inspiring
other better movies.
Oh no, but yes, also, no, is inspiring cool vintage jack-o'-lantern carvings because
Right.
last Halloween I had a blast mimicking the Halloween from the movie poster jack-o'-lantern that's on the movie poster, with the big sharp knives for teeth. That was a fun one to do. And this one has, and then they have like one in the credits, they have like jack-o'-lanterns that are just kind of, there's something like very like a child cut this, but also like a little off and sinister, which is great for pumpkins.
Yeah. There's a couple times in this film that it subverts your expectations. I mean, that's just part of the slasher genre. The first one comes when Michael Myers goes into these old people's house, and you're thinking, uh-oh, this is going to be the first kill. Old people gonna die. Nope. He just takes their
This
knife.
is what his notes say. They say, this is the way I read them. Uh-oh, old people gun die. Nope.
That's literally what I have written down.
Old people gun die. Nope.
So he doesn't kill the old people, but then he finds another house with a young teen.
This is going to be the goofiest episode ever.
Yeah, I'm a little punch drunk, maybe.
How late did you stay up?
I was up to like 1:20.
What's the matter with you? Why do you do these things?
I was, gotta do it for the pod, man.
You had all week.
I've got things. I have lots of things at night.
Things.
Okay, so yeah, there's some killings. There's some killings, and then the bulk of this movie takes place in the hospital. And Laurie Strode, Jamie Lee Curtis's character, is taken to the hospital where we're introduced to the handful of staff in this giant hospital.
Like 7 people work at this hospital at night. And I don't know.
And it's like a 200-room hospital, it feels like.
Yeah, it feels huge. I can't imagine how big a hospital in rural Illinois in the 70s or 80s was.
Was it Illinois? I thought it was New Jersey.
Haddonfield, Illinois.
Is it Haddonfield, Illinois?
No, you're thinking of Camp Crystal Lake is in New Jersey.
All right. So, yeah, it takes place in this hospital, and, there's a lot of just observations you can make about this hospital.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll save some of it for later, but one of the important things is that there's only one doctor.
Yeah.
And he's a drunk, apparently. He just came from a party and is like, let me give you a shot. He's got a steady hand. I mean,
right.
For a drunk doctor, he has a pretty steady hand, but Laurie is begging them not to put her to sleep, and of course they do.
But it doesn't amount to anything.
Yeah, and I don't know why they would need to put her to sleep. She doesn't go into surgery or anything. She just has a stab wound or something.
Yeah, they knock her out with general anesthesia, and then what? They give her some stitches.
Yeah,
it's like, wow, that's a little intense.
And so lots of stuff happens in this movie that happens in slasher genre movies, which is just nonsensical plot points. Yeah. Just like, oh, now she's asleep. Oh, but now she's running away because the killer's after her, and it adds tension or something like that.
I'm stuck in this door that's closing. I better take off my shirt. Better bring out the sweater puppies.
So the first part of the movie, they're kind of hunting down Michael Myers, and there's a fake out, which is one of the most obvious fake outs because it's within the first 10 minutes of the film.
Oh,
this cop car.
This is great.
Like, pins some.
So
it pins Michael Myers between the cop car and the van, and explodes into a ball of fire. And you're like, well, there we go. We got him.
Yeah, but first, Loomis is like, he's getting ready to shoot this kid that he sees wearing the same mask Michael has, and there's a big struggle over trying to shoot this kid. And I thought that was pretty funny. And then and then instead he's saved from having to shoot the kid by a police officer who turns this child into a fireball. It's great.
Just basically probably chopped the kid in half between the cop car and this van that he hit.
Yeah.
Going like 40 miles per hour down like a residential street.
It was an insane explosion that would not have happened.
And then just immediately the body's like burning up to a crisp. And so it's like, is there anyone that's going to think that that's actually Michael Myers?
They all did.
Because movie.
Mm-hmm.
So it ends up being just some teenager with the same mask. Also featured in this movie is lots of first-person camera work showing Michael creeping about, mostly in the first part of the movie. They don't do it as much later on. But they try to bring in the elements that worked in the first movie. Most of the first act of this film fills in the audience with the main plot points of the first film, mainly that Michael Myers killed his sister when he was a young child and has been in a mental institution for his whole life, and then he escaped.
Yeah, like 10 or 12 years, something like that.
Yeah, and he recently escaped and had a murder spree. And Laurie Strode was
at the center of it.
But
why? Do we know why he's so fixated on Laurie?
Well, I'll tell you. This is the spoiler section, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, get ready for the biggest spoiler of Halloween 2. Laurie Strode is Michael Myers' sister.
Wow. Wait. Is she?
Are you serious? You didn't catch that?
No.
Oh my God. Are you serious?
Yeah. I remember them toward the end being like, sister, it's two-way twister, but I don't remember exactly how this.
It was really quick. Well, first of all,
was it actually quick? Because are you just trying to make me feel better, or is this?
There was two quick parts. There was one where it shows Laurie and she's remembering a moment from the past where she's visiting some kid in a hospital.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's pretty obvious at that point that like she at least had some sort of relationship with Michael Myers when she was younger.
Okay.
I mean, what other kid isn't is hospitalized?
Sure.
And then later, briefly in the car, when the doctor or nurse came back to get Dr. Loomis because the governor apparently told him that he needs to go back to the mental institution for I don't know why. Like, we don't want anyone from the hospital there in Haddonfield because reasons. So they come and get him. And in the car, she's like, there's something that you need to know. There's a file that was hidden away because his parents didn't want people to know, and we should have told you. You know, this doctor that's been on Michael Myers' case for 15 years or whatever. And then she said, Laurie Strode is Michael Myers' sister.
Okay.
And then he's like, well, that's why he's here. He wants to finish her off because he killed his other sister, and now he needs to kill the sister. So in a way, it actually makes sense. Like, I get it. Like, it works, but also
in the barest possible sense.
It gives Michael Myers at least a reason to be going after this particular girl so hard. But also it feels super tacked on. And this is a year after Empire Strikes Back, so it's not too subtle of a ripoff of like shocking reveal, family relationship.
Okay.
Between the villain and the protagonist.
I get where that connection is now. Yeah, I didn't even fucking catch that.
You didn't. That's like the whole.
I didn't even catch
thing
it.
About this movie.
I mean, it's weird what we latch onto, right? Because I can get so much meaning out of movies where there is apparently no meaning at all.
This is true.
And yet there's very important it really speaks to the fact that it is not an interesting movie. Like, I felt like I could go on autopilot for most of it, and I did.
So basically, this movie was supposed to be the end of the story. So it was supposed to be like a self-contained 2-movie set.
2 and done.
And they were going to do more Halloween movies that was different topics. So Halloween 3 was actually... Season of the Witch had nothing to do with Michael Myers. Michael Myers was dead, right?
Right.
And that's kind of a trope in these movies, is that no matter how much you kill Michael Myers at the end of these movies, like, yeah, he's still going to come back.
Yeah.
And that's common among slashers.
Yeah.
But, so John Carpenter was going to do like a witch-based one, and then after that one, he was going to do a ghost-based one. And it was all going to happen on the day of Halloween.
Right.
That was going to be the through line. It was going to be more of an anthology kind of thing.
Right.
Halloween 3 did not work out, even though apparently it's a better movie than this one.
Yeah, so I've heard. We have a blog. Keith wrote a blog about it, about how Season of the Witch was basically not given its due.
Yeah, and just financially, it was a failure. And so they decided to... make the supreme creative decision to be like, well, let's just bring back Michael Myers, because that's what people actually like,
and they have ever since.
I mean, they should have done I don't know, whatever, but it's but this was supposed to be like the last film, and then they have 9 other films just after this. No, I guess there's 8 other films after this. But even in this series, in this timeline, before it's rebooted, I think there's 4 more. So,
wow.
This idea that Laurie is his sister, I think, is common among most of them. They play it real loose with like the timeline for Halloween, because the reboot, the soft reboot in 2018 completely disregards this film.
Right.
Like, because it's very problematic to have Laurie be his sister. They just have to retcon that out, or just ignore it and just say, never mind. None of those movies happen.
Right.
Let's start again. So, anyways, but that's an important plot point in this movie. Glad you're paying attention, David.
Like you don't miss things.
Yeah, I missed nothing. Okay. So lots of horror movie tropes in this movie. First of which, I mean, other than just a killer that's unstoppable. What are some of the tropes you see in this movie? So there's the phone lines that get cut
immediately. So the killer knows this place like the back of his hand.
Uh-huh.
He's so familiar with the hospital that he's able to find and disconnect the phone line before anything else happens in this movie. And then the incompetent security guard, that's got to be a trope.
Right.
The
I was going to say, in terms of horror movies,
Sex at work?
Slashers would be a lot less scary if people were actually competent at their jobs.
Yeah. If this guy wasn't a gigantic, bumbling, 50-year-old man.
Because the security guard's like, here, take this. I'm going to talk to you on the radio. And the girl that he hands it to is like, some 18-year-old girl. She's like, I don't know how to use. And then he's gone.
He's like, I got to check this thing out. You got my back with this radio. She's like, how do I? And he just leaves.
Walks out.
Okay.
This is like that cop in Hellfest where he's like, so the guy attacked you, but what am I supposed to do about it?
What am I supposed to do about it? Yeah,
there's lots of people in masks here.
Check out our review of Hellfest about this time last year. Fabulous slasher.
Yeah. So the one notable thing is that the pacing is a lot slower in this film. So 70s, early 80s slashers are noticeably slower. Even Michael Myers just walking, like we've already said.
Dude.
He's the slowest villain.
He's by far the slowest. And but interestingly, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, before, I believe, the original Halloween, for sure. And faster paced, as far as a lot of different things. It's just a much more disturbing overall premise to me.
Yeah, there's like a combination of liking the cinema verite kind of stuff from the 70s where it's trying to be a little more realistic, a little more normal paced. And so it's noticeable in this movie that a lot of time it's just really quiet. There's literally just nothing going on. It's a person standing there for a couple seconds before making a motion or doing something, and it's silence, and then like a little alarm bell goes off or something.
What did you call it? Cinema verite?
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
It's like verite is like truth or something. So it's like truth on film.
It's like a way to it is a style.
Yeah, it's just like kind of a feel, like a lot of movies in the 70s, like it got it got out of the way in terms of like lots of cuts. Mm-hmm. There were longer takes, more silence in the dialogue, just more time to let everything breathe. And so
that's definitely something that's very obvious in particularly in the first Halloween.
Yeah. So that's kind of noticeable if you're a fan of recent horror movies. Like you're going to be like, it's even the sound is a lot more subtle. Like the jump scares, like it's not like really, really loud sound. Right. It's just kind of like meow.
Yeah, the cat
one.
The cat jump scare in this worked on me, by the way.
Really?
Oh my god.
My gosh. I was like,
whoa. Because normally, like a Halloween movie is not going to throw a big jump scare at you, like especially an early one.
Yeah, I wrote down slowest jump scare ever because it just felt so. I'm used to being hit over the head with it now, especially with like the Conjuring movies and modern jump scare like factories of movies. Like they have a formula where it's quiet,
precise, and effective,
like dread-filled music, and then
big loud sound.
So anyways, this was literally just a guy looking in the dumpster and then a cat going meow.
I was like, no kitty, bad kitty. Oh, speaking of which, bad kitty, my cat brought a live mouse into our house and dropped it on the floor and watched it run away. I was like, you fucking bitch. Like I tried to smash it, but it escaped my smash. And then it's just a baby mouse. And look, I know how you're feeling, PETA. I know you're out there. I know you're coming for me. But there's a mouse in my house, and this mouse is turning my house upside down. I see it under the couch, Like, I get up in the morning, it doesn't know where it is. It's an outside mouse. It's like, what the fuck is going on? It's a baby, kind of. And it's, so I chase it around and open the door and try to shoo it out. And if I can, I'll smash it. But really, I just hope it runs away so that I don't have to take its life.
Did I ever tell you my great white hunter story?
No, what?
This is what I term my great white hunter story.
Okay, like your Moby Dick moment?
Because I've got to paint a picture here. So yeah, we had a mouse in the house. Every once in a while, our house would get a mouse that would come in through kind of either like there's this vent or something, but it would get through close to where my parents' garbage disposal or the trash compactor was, and so it would get into the trash compactor and scurry around in there. And we'd always have cats, and so they usually take care of them. But this one mouse was in our living room, and I noticed it, and I could see it was kind of trapped. It couldn't. All it could do is like go behind the couches, like it was a sunk down, like a step down.
Yeah, I've been.
And it was like a
house.
tiny mouse, like you're talking about. So it probably could have jumped out, but it was kind of going around the same path. And then I realized that recently I had purchased something.
A blowgun?
A blowgun.
Oh, yeah.
Have I told you this story?
I think this is starting to become more familiar.
So it's like Bruce Willis in Pulp Fiction when he spots the samurai sword. I was like, the blowgun. And like, blowguns are not very useful. No. It's kind of fun for like 10 minutes. You've got like...
You put a needle into a tree.
Yeah. And you got like a little target or whatever. But then it's got all these accoutrements where you can buy the needles that'll take down like a squirrel. You can buy a needle that could take down like something a little bigger, maybe like a bunny or something. The different tips and stuff. So I had, just the normal needle tips, and then there was one that was like just kind of had a flare on it at the tip.
Like a metal flare?
Yeah, it was like someone hammered it.
Okay, yeah.
And so it does a little more damage if it goes in. And then the ones that I actually use most were like the little yellow pucks that you just shoot at.
So wait, it's a needle with a flare in the needle tip?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
So it just does a little more damage. Like,
yeah, it's not gonna come out.
Yeah, it's not just gonna go straight through.
It's like a barbed hook.
Yeah. But I liked when they sold it to me, the little yellow pucks that it shoots out.
Right.
They sold it as like, well, this is, you can just stun them. Like if you find a squirrel that you don't want on your bird feeder, you just shoot it with one of these. It's not going to kill them, but it's going to just stun them and it's going to go off.
I called those Garrett fodder.
Yeah.
This is what I used to shoot my brother with.
And then you just say, and then I remember he made a note to not let the squirrel see you because you want it to not associate your presence with it. You just want it to associate.
Was there a commercial that you're talking about?
No, I bought it at a fair or something like that.
Oh, so this is a guy pitching this to you. Okay.
So anyways, I had this blowgun, so I went and unracked the blowgun, which was on my sword rack by the way.
Bryce's secret shame is he used to collect mall ninja swords like a fucking geek.
There's no shame.
So
they weren't from the mall. They were from various
countries,
locations around the world. Anyways, I took out the blowgun and I went down, and to paint the picture, this is like 14-year-old me. So still like real chubby, fat. We'll just say fat. And I'm in like just my tidy whities.
Yeah.
No shirt.
Now we're talking.
So I'm like full
Rambo.
Like native mode. And I take out my blowgun and I look back. The back crack of the couch, between the couch and the wall.
There
I see it. I see my foe.
Uh-huh.
And then he spots me.
Uh-huh.
And he starts running away. And I blow. And he jumps into the darkness just as the needle goes out.
Did you get him?
I got him.
You got him?
Yeah, the needle went right through him and pinned him to the ground.
Holy shit! That's the coolest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I don't like killing stuff. but I will, and I appreciate the marksmanship.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So get yourself a blowgun.
Did you feel like a lot of guilt, or were you just like, oh, I'm a fucking badass right now? Were you like that chubby 14-year-old in his tighty whities who's like on top of the world?
I was so amazed that I hit him. Like the chances that I hit him were so astounding to me.
I don't practice this. It's not like this is my...
Yeah. Blowguns are surprisingly like intuitive. Like it's pretty easy to hit your mark with a blowgun. It takes
the concept of look where you want to throw, right? And it makes it even easier because it attaches it basically to your nose, like right underneath your nose, which is your sights. But yeah.
So, I probably felt a little bit of guilt, but I was so elated that I got him, and I showed everyone. It's like, can you believe that I got this fucking mouse with this blowgun?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm proud of you right now.
Yeah.
like
probably,
right now.
It's probably the best moment in my life.
Did he die
and
right away?
And I've had 3 children.
Did he? Did he die right away?
Yeah, he was dead.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
That's a clean shot.
It was a humane death. I mean, it went right through
his face,
the chestal area.
The chestal area. Yeah. That's a common anatomical term.
Anyway, let's get back to this boring movie. So lots of deaths. So I mean, that's what people come to these movies for, is like the interesting deaths. So there's a claw hammer death.
Yeah.
Which is cool. That's the security guard that gets killed. There's some needle in the eye deaths.
Yeah, don't like those. Specifically don't like the needle in the eye deaths.
There's lots of scalpel deaths.
Mm-hmm.
So most of this film is Michael Myers with a little tiny scalpel, which is a little less intimidating than a giant butcher knife.
Yeah, he although he does perform some of his most common party tricks, like... stabbing you in the back with a scalpel instead of a big, gigantic Bowie knife, and then lifting you off the ground with that scalpel.
Yeah, I don't think a scalpel would do that, would it?
Shut up.
Also, a scalding death.
Yeah, so this one is this death was meant for boob jiggles. That's what it was meant for. The girl is toweling herself off. And her
Michael Myers, it's like in a therapeutic tub, and Michael Myers turns up the heat to 11, and so it's like it even has like a dial that says scalding as it's going past it, and somehow just it's so hot that it just burns off the first layer of skin, and it's like sloughing off.
Well, hang on.
Michael Myers' hand is okay. I
want to set this up a little bit here. So she's toweling off. She's like just gotten done fooling around with her boyfriend in the tub. And she's like, puts an end to it. She puts the kibosh on it. She's like, you're not getting this tonight. I got to go to work. And so he like goes to towel off in the other room, and where Michael Myers kills him. And then as she's toweling off next to the tub, Michael Myers enters the room, approaches her from behind, lovingly caresses her shoulder, and she's like, "Oh, sorry, boy."
And she's like sucking on his hand and stuff.
Yeah, in a weird like just kind of like, let me just touch your...
Wouldn't you like taste the blood or like just, I don't know, grossness of Michael Myers' hand?
I don't know.
The guy that was with her just came out of the tub.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah,
his hand would have been like at least clammy. I feel like if I was going to suck on someone's hand, I would be able to tell whether it was my boyfriend's or not.
Yeah, maybe.
Just saying.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's just like so used to sucking on so many different hands that it's one of those things where it's like the back of her mind. But yeah, she really gave this hand a weird suck, and then she turns around and it's Michael Myers, and she's like, oh God, and then he takes and dunks her a bunch, and then
skin sloughs off her face.
Yeah, and then but Mike's hand is strangely unscathed. But maybe, I mean, we don't get a close up of the hand afterward, and maybe it was maybe like the pre-dunk suck wet his
That's
hand
true.
and put a protective layer of
True,
saliva
you're right.
that would protect
Or
him
the fact
from
that he's
scalding
like
temperatures.
grabbing her hair. Maybe it's like a glove.
Right, like a hair glove.
The hairs are. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not overthink it. Other deaths. There's a strangling death. Just lots of different ways to kill people that Michael Myers goes through. Except, the one defense is walking a little quicker than normal. Then you'll be just okay.
Just a little faster.
So throughout the movie, they try to add kind of like supernatural elements. So
They try and tack on a bunch of weird shit.
yeah, one of the elements that they try to expand it is Laurie and Michael's relationship, but then also Loomis is here throughout, just trying to kind of expand it into like a supernatural realm that he's questionably undead kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then he sees Michael Myers left like this writing on a chalkboard in blood that said Sam Hain.
Yeah.
And then Loomis had this to say about that.
What's this?
It's gibberish. No. It's a Celtic word. Samhain. It means the Lord of the Dead. The end of summer. The festival of Samhain. October 31st.
Hey, that's Halloween, isn't it?
Oh, boy, that clip had a lot of background sound going on.
Yeah, and then this is him actually kind of explaining more about what that festival was about.
You see the blackboard back there in the elementary school?
Yeah?
In order to appease the gods, the druid priests held fire rituals. Prisoners of war, criminals, the insane, animals were burned alive in baskets. By observing the way they died, the druids believed they could see omens of the future. 2,000 years later, we've come no further. Samhain isn't evil spirits. It isn't goblins, ghosts, or witches. It's the unconscious mind. We're all afraid of the dark inside ourselves.
Dr. Loomis, please.
Yeah, so I mean, it's trying to expand it into
the trilogy, into the next iterations of this that won't feature Michael Myers.
Yeah, I mean, it's very obviously like the hypothesis of this movie is like, this is Dr. Loomis is here to say, this is kind of what we're going for.
Yeah.
And to me, it's kind of disappointing because if you can't show that with the rest of the film, if you need someone to spell out, this is what we're going for. This is like the Lord of the Death, and it's the unconscious mind, and it's blah blah blah. I'm like, all right, I get what you're trying to do, but it just leaves me saying to myself,
Dr. Loomis, please.
When you were playing, I got two things. When you were playing that clip and the high-pitched squealing came in over my headphones, I thought I was hearing something from outside, and I had a panic moment. So that was fairly effective. If you watch this movie, listen to it on headphones and get a different experience. But then also, Bryce, I have a question that I think you might be able to help me with, which is a lot of times. So these big slashers get big on the merit of the creator, right? Uh-huh. So John Carpenter, first Halloween, John Carpenter writes and directs. Why Wes Craven, Nightmare on Elm Street, same thing. Why is it that they take it out of that person's hands for the second movie all the time? The second, the third, they're like, yeah, John Carpenter can write it, but he's not going to direct it. Why do they do that?
John Carpenter didn't want to direct it. Like, I don't think him and the other writer actually wanted to do Halloween 2. They were, they said no initially. I just read this on IMDb. They're like, no. The first film stands alone on its own. It's a great movie. We don't want to extend it because that would, and then they're like, how about we give you more money? And John Carpenter goes, okay.
All right.
And so they offered him more money, and supposedly this was in the trivia. I don't know if they actually saw into John Carpenter's mind, but basically said that he made no money off of the first film. And so the second paycheck, and I think this is true of a lot of creators that have a really, really successful first film, that they don't have a great deal because they're unknown or unproven. And so they don't make a lot of money off of the one thing that just made a shit ton of money. And they do the following ones to make that up. So John Carpenter was like, well, I didn't make any money off of the first one, and it made a ton of money, so I can kind of get my due by writing the script of this one, and
I don't have to have my name attached to a terrible movie as a director.
Yeah, just the writer, just the one with all the concepts.
Right.
So, and it's kind of interesting when you see...
It's not terrible. I don't mean to say that this movie is terrible, but like if you were to look at Nightmare on Elm Street 2, yeah, it's terrible.
Right.
So
it's... he wrote it and tried to incorporate elements of some of the more successful horror movies around that time. So apparently the director wanted to make it very much like the first one, and John Carpenter went in after that director's final cut and added some scenes that were more gory because that's what the kids wanted
right
in the early 80s. And so it's kind of like a muddled movie.
I'm really glad I asked that question because this answers a lot. I really, it has always been confusing to me that why don't you bring back the guy who did the work? Like,
yeah,
this is the reason it's good.
Yeah.
But,
so lots of things in this movie are, and this is more horror tropes, a lot of convenient just stuff that doesn't make sense. And there, to a certain extent, it's trying to be dreamlike. Like there's a lot of dream logic in this where 1 minute Laurie is catatonic.
Yeah.
She's like, she's literally like not breathing because she's having a reaction to this medication, and Michael Myers is coming for her, and you're like, oh no, she's catatonic. He's going to get her. And then once Michael Myers opens the door and stabs, it's just pillows.
Yeah.
And then Laurie is now running away because
she woke up and she woke up and just ran away.
Yeah. Just in time.
Yeah.
And then the other one is like, Laurie is running away. This is the one this is the one like chase scene that was the most ridiculous because it's literally like he's as far away from her as you are from me right now, which is like 5 feet.
Yeah.
And she decides then to climb up some boxes and open a window and climb out the window.
After watching him approach for a good 14 feet.
Yeah, for very clumsily and slowly. And Michael Myers like slowly walks up, and then he kind of waves at her in a way that Ricky Bobby does in Talladega Nights, was just like,
don't know what to do with my hands.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Just like
Michael Myers, just close your hand and you'll have her.
I mean, I get what they were going for, right? Which is all the girls in the theater immediately go, "Oh, he's grabbing at her legs." Mm-hmm. Is she gonna? But really, what it really achieves is it makes Michael look stupid. Yeah. And then this is my favorite part of the whole movie. Once she gets out of that window, then she's in another part of like a storage room or something like that in the basement. And she runs around a chain link fence, like an L pattern around a chain link fence to where she sees an elevator. And Mike Myers is hot on her tail, moving at the speed of smell. And he is walking so slowly that she is able to get in the elevator.
The elevator goes down 3 floors.
3 floors. She gets in, it opens a door, agonizingly slowly, like an elevator does, and then it closes it. She's like, "Oh God," pressing the door close button.
His hand goes in the elevator door.
She's watching him approach over 10 feet while she's in the elevator going, "Please, please close. Please, please close." And he can't speed up one little iota.
And then he puts his hand in the door, so you're thinking, it's going to open the elevator, but then he just pulls it out and the door closes.
oh,
the only elevator in the world that does that.
He's like, ow, my hand.
Yeah, so there's lots of that kind of stuff.
It's strangely endearing, though.
Yeah. Again, in this hospital is the most... I think they're working in an abandoned hospital and no one told them.
Well...
Like, hey, wait a minute. This isn't the hospital with the patients. This is the old abandoned hospital down on the, old hospital road.
4125 Hospital Road? No, 4126. Oh, it's that hospital right there. It's not this one.
They followed the drunk doctor over there because they just trusted he knew what he was doing. Yeah, I mean, and it's great. There's actually a scene with one of the EMTs, and he's all...
Mr. Garrett?
Sorry. Listen, I can't find anybody. Bud's gone. Mrs. Alves is gone. We gotta find Lori.
I love it. He's like, listen, I can't find anyone.
I can't.
Can you imagine being in a hospital that was literally just empty?
See, and this is a question that I have to maybe some viewers or listeners who are older than me. So I'm an 80s kid, 90s kid, born in the 80s, and same with Bryce. So we don't really have a good idea about what, maybe middle America, we're talking Illinois, we're talking Kansas, Oklahoma, just good old corn-fed motherfuckers out there. What was it like in like the 70s and 80s? Was this an accurate portrayal of a hospital in those times? I'm so curious.
They just didn't have accidents back then.
They didn't have... Maybe it's not that they didn't have accidents, but there just wasn't very many of them.
Or maybe they just let people die.
A lot of death. There were a lot more deaths.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Very
it was
curious.
just like this completely empty. I think the only other patient that we saw was there was a couple babies in the nursery.
Yeah, the loneliest babies with no mothers ever. Like they're just sitting there like,
yeah.
Weh.
So, yeah, it's just it feels dreamlike.
It does. Yeah.
But if you're going for like a realistic, I don't know. It didn't. Meh, whatever. So, and then the end, Michael walks through some doors to go after them.
Well said.
And and then Lori shoots him in the eyes.
But before she does that, he has to walk through some doors to get to her.
Yeah, he walks through some doors to get to her, and Lori has a gun that Dr. Loomis gave her, and she shoots him in the eyes, and then the blood comes out like tears. And I said, "Oh, you made him cry.
Poor little guy.
Poor Michael Myers." And then, and then he's blind, and Dr. Loomis and Lori are on separate sides of the room, and they figure out turning on the air, and he's like, I wanted them to say, he's attracted to the sound of air, because they kept turning on these like air container tanks.
Yeah, these big
to fill the room.
These big tanks containing oxygen and ether. But wouldn't they just fucking pass out if there's ether just floating around? I don't know.
Instead, Dr. Loomis lights a match and they get blowed up.
Sacrificing himself.
They get blowed up real good. Like literally just a giant fireball explosion. And so you're like, well, that's that.
For sure.
And it shows Michael Myers laying on his stomach, like literally just burning for probably like a good minute.
Yeah. It
showing him like...
Seemed like it was 30 seconds or so.
He is dead.
D-E.
Like dead.
D-E-D. Dead.
No more Michael Myers movies.
No.
He's gone.
100%.
You can see his flesh burning off his skull.
We've cashed in this chip. It's over. There's just no more. Go home.
There's no way that they could make 4 more movies starring Michael Myers.
And then 2 reimaginings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he was still alive. And also, like, in the other movies, Donald Pleasance is in the other movies, too. So apparently Dr. Loomis survives as well.
Well, there was a little trip to a burn ward. Had some second-degree burns.
Anyways, so that kind of ruins... I mean, that's the thing with these movies, is like, you have to see them in the time, because the fact that you know that there's 7 other sequels is like, well, he's still there. Like, that means nothing. That ending means nothing.
Yeah, it gives a little bit away. I'm trying to think, have we seen any new movies that are going to turn into something big? I guess when I saw The Conjuring, I felt, I saw that in theaters and I felt like, wow, there's something here. And then certainly there has been, obviously.
I mean, the one that I would point to that I bet would get a sequel is Ready or Not, but I don't know how they would do that or how that would be a franchise.
Oh, I'm sure there are some mildly creative people who will make that happen.
Yeah. Ready or Not's probably the best movie that we've seen recently.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think they're going to make a franchise off of Midsommar.
No.
Or Hereditary.
No.
What if they did make a franchise off of Hereditary? Wouldn't that be great?
They feel like, I mean,
you could do a sequel of Hereditary.
And yeah, but I mean, I would want it to be Ari Aster.
Yeah. I don't know. Slashers. I don't think slashers do super well
anymore
right now. I mean, I guess Halloween 2018 made a ton of money.
Yeah, and I thought there was going to be a sequel to that this year.
Next year.
Is that next year? Okay, it's 2020.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that was the movie. Lots of stabbings, lots of slow walking.
Yeah, lots of scalpels.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting needles. Because like if you are gonna watch the first movie, might as well just tack on this one to it just to see where that self-encapsulated story where the original vision would have stopped.
I don't have a problem with this movie. To be clear, this movie does not suck. It is not a bad movie.
No.
In fact, I thought it was I really do think it is interesting that
there's no laughable parts or like parts that I'm rolling my eyes out. It's just very tropey. It's like, yep, that's that thing.
Yeah, and part of that is this is the standard setter for tropes. Like, this is where a lot of those started.
Right.
So, yeah, we look at them now and we go, that's so hacky. Like, look at that hacky bullshit. But, yeah, it's hacky because it started it. Like, this started that whole movement. And I do think it's interesting that it literally picks up seconds after the first one and just carries out the rest of the night.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, final recommendations.
Man, if you're doing a watching of all the Halloweens or something like that, this one is not one to skip, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So do that this Halloween. Click through our link on Amazon. Watch this movie on Amazon. Rent it.
All right.
Dr. Loomis, please.
Yeah, I mean, if you like slasher movies, like this is, I mean, obviously the Halloween franchise is something that you should definitely touch on.
Yeah.
1 and 2 is probably some of the more important ones of them. So I think, like, out of them that people talk about, there's Halloween 1 and 2, there's...
3. I think 3 is...
Yeah, 3
is notable in how different it is.
But it's not, I mean, it's weird to even include that in this franchise. It's like its own thing, too.
Yeah, but I think that's why it...
H2O gets a lot of attention.
That had some rapper in it, didn't it?
No, that was another one.
No, it for sure. H2O definitely. Now I gotta look this up.
No, there was one...
Because that was 1998? Or like 99?
There was... Halloween Resurrection had Busta Rhymes in it.
Okay. I was thinking about Lep in the Hood. Leprechaun in the Hood.
Oh, yeah. I think H2O... I mean, the 2018 Halloween one got really good scores.
Let's see. So H2O...
The Return of Michael Myers got some good stuff. So I think number 3... No, yeah. So, yeah, 1, 2, and 4, and then skip to H2O is probably where you should go.
Well,
in terms of like the original.
Lots of people. There's a lot of controversy around the Rob Zombie remakes. Personally, it's way too gross and horrific for me, but. but they are notable in that some people definitely prefer the backstory of Mike Myers and why he is the way he is. And Rob Zombie does kind of delve into it in his 2 movies. I'm looking at the cast for H2O right now. Obviously Jamie Lee Curtis, but other notables are Josh Hartnett and Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
There you go.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt in 1998, like coming right off of Third Rock from the Sun, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
So let's play Attack of the Rotten Tomatoes.
Attack of Rotten Tomatoes.
Yay!
That's one of my favorite.
That's one of my favorites, too. Because we have to say rotten.
Right.
Because we're too lazy to record it.
Yep. Okay. So, like I said, this version of Attack of the Rotten Tomatoes, we're going to be pitting Halloween against Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm going to give you 2, one from each franchise, and I tried to pair them up as close to the years as I could.
So you tried to go like Halloween.
So there's a couple of them that are the same year. So yeah, you'll see. Okay, so let's start out with the first films though. So Halloween 1978.
Okay.
The original versus the original A Nightmare on Elm Street, which was in 1984. So that's the biggest separation that we have.
And we're going off of the Tatometer score. That's the critics' scores.
Yeah, it's the critics' aggregate score.
Let me think here. Okay, so Halloween, which is so iconic that it's, arguably birthed the slasher genre in and of itself. And then we have the original Nightmare on Elm Street, which is also extremely notable in that, Freddy is probably the most iconic slasher villain ever. So, I gotta say, I think John Carpenter gets a little bit more traction with the critics than Wes Craven. So I'm gonna say the original Halloween.
You are correct.
Oh, baby.
Halloween got 96.
Damn.
Nightmare on Elm Street got 94. So it was really close.
Yeah, it is real close. I don't even think my logic for that stands up. I think that's just an anomalous thing.
Yeah. Next, we have Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, made in 1988.
Available on Shudder.
And
enter HMT at checkout.
A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, both 4s, The Dream Master.
Okay.
So, Halloween 4, directed by Dwight H. Little and Mark Cunningham, and starring Donald Pleasance, Ellie Cornell, and George P. Wilbur. Those stars.
Those big names.
Dream Master was directed by Rennie Harland, starring Robert Englund, of course, Lisa Wilcox, and Danny Hassel.
This is tough. I've seen neither. I was thinking about watching Halloween 4 on Shudder, but I haven't yet. So I think for this one, I'm going to go Halloween again because I have heard good things about that one, and I have not heard almost anything about Nightmare on Elm Street 4. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you hear a lot about Dream Warriors.
Dream Warriors is 3.
But this is the next one, Dream Master. You are wrong.
Oh, wow.
Nightmare on Elm Street 4 got 55.
Okay.
So just under Fresh. I think Fresh is 60.
Yeah, something like that.
So it's really split right down the middle for critics. Halloween 4 got 30%.
Oof.
Yeah. Which is actually more than 2. I think 2 was like 30. So, maybe a little better than the one we watched. Might be interested in, whatever. Okay. Halloween 5, Revenge of Michael Myers, directed by Dominique O'Thelin-Girard, starring Danielle Harris, Donald Pleasance, and Wendy Kaplan, versus A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child, in 1989. Both in 1989. That one's directed by Stephen Hopkins, starring Robert Englund, Lisa Wilcox, and Danny Hassel, the same cast as the last movie.
Dream Child fucked me up. It is the reason I slept with the lights on from ages 5 or 6 until like 9. Not joking.
Yeah.
Because I've mentioned this before in the podcast. My family had pay-per-view because we had one of those gigantic satellite dishes in the 80s, and this was on in like 90 or something like that, and I was just a little boy. And I caught Freddy birthing himself out of a woman's like stomach, like with his claws, and that fucked me up, buddy. Like, so just based on that, I'm gonna have to say, Dream Child.
You are correct.
Oh, baby.
Yeah. Halloween 5, Revenge of Michael Myers, got 13.
Wow.
And
that is not good.
Nightmare on Elm Street 5 got 32.
Dang. Okay.
Still not great.
Not great. Not good.
But,
too scarring for me.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right. Next, in 1995, Halloween Curse of Michael Myers. This is Halloween 6, directed by Joe Chappelle, starring Donald Pleasance, Paul Rudd, and Mitchell Ryan.
I'm really interested to see what a Halloween produced in the dead mid-90s looks like.
Yeah.
You know?
And then Wes Craven's New Nightmare was in 1994, so a year earlier, directed by Wes Craven, starring David Newson, Robert Englund, and Heather Langenkamp, which is the girl from the first movie.
Never heard one thing. Heather Langenkamp is in Dream Warrior as well. Never heard one thing about Halloween 6, but I've heard lots of good stuff about New Nightmare, so I'm going to say New Nightmare.
You're correct. Yeah, this is probably the biggest spread of points. Wes Craven's New Nightmare, kind of a soft reboot of that franchise, got a 78.
Damn,
so the second highest score for that franchise, I'm pretty sure. Halloween 6 got a 6.
Ooh. Ooh.
6%.
Paul Rudd.
Poor Paul Rudd.
Do you think when like the Halloween franchise is brought up in front of Paul Rudd, do you think he's like, I was in a Halloween? Or do you think he's just like, no, I went, oh yeah, that seems like it's a interesting franchise?
Yeah. 6. It's strangely fitting that Halloween 6 got a 6 though.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've already got 3, so you've won the game, but I got 2 more.
Okay.
Halloween Resurrection 2002, directed by Dick Rosenthal, starring Busta Rhymes, Tyra Banks, and Jamie Lee Curtis.
Damn, Tyra Banks in her hottestness.
Uh-huh.
And who else?
And Jamie Lee Curtis, probably in her hottestness.
Dang.
That was right after True Lies.
So what is
Not
it?
Really
I never saw True Lies, but what is it about? What is it about?
Never seen True Lies?
Okay, I just never have understood people. Like my dad will be like, "Oh, you're watching Halloween?" Like he doesn't watch horror movies,
right.
And he's like, "Jamie Lee Curtis, though, I'm all right." I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Why does everybody think Jamie Lee Curtis is so hot?"
Well, there's a couple movies. There's Trading Spaces. She plays a hooker in that one, and she's got a nice bod. True Lies definitely shows off pretty nice bod. Like, I get it.
Okay.
I totally get it.
I guess I need to see True Lies.
God, you gotta see True Lies. It's like one of the best action movies ever made.
That's why I'm just not interested in it, I guess.
Yeah, it's like, well, it's James Cameron.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that. Well, yeah. I'll watch that.
Okay. Back to the game. Freddy vs. Jason, which is 2003, a year later, directed by Ronnie Yu, starring Robert Englund, Ken Kersinger, and Monica Keena.
I went to see that in theaters with a bunch of my friends, and it was hilarious. I'm going to say Resurrection. Was that the other option?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I'm going to say Resurrection because Freddy vs. Jason was terrible, and I'm sure critics didn't even jokingly like it.
Busta Rhymes did not pull through It was actually Freddy vs. Jason that got a higher score. So Halloween Resurrection got an 11.
Oof.
And Freddy vs. Jason got a 41.
Wow, that's a lot more than I would have expected.
Yeah.
I would have expected 11 versus like 14.
Yeah. Still not fresh, but yeah.
Dang, Resurrection must be fucking awful. Can you even imagine how bad it would have to be to be up against Freddy versus Jason and be like, yeah, definitely Freddy versus, like, not even comparable. Universes apart.
Also, I think it's like lower expectations. I mean, Freddy versus Jason is such an exploitative concept that it's not like anyone's going to expect lots of introspective dialogue or anything in that movie. Okay, last one. H2, Halloween 2, the 2009 version, not the one that we reviewed. This one's directed by Robert Zombie. Starring Malcolm McDowell, Brad Dourif, which I think is the voice of Chucky, if I'm remembering right.
I think Brad M. something. Anyway, I'm not sure.
Well, now we got to check.
Now we have to check because Bryce has to be right all the time. Mark Hamill is the voice of new Chucky.
Yeah. Brad Dourif. Oh yeah, yeah, I was right.
Oh, so it is. So
Yeah, Brad Dourif was in H2.
Okay.
And Tyler Mane versus A Nightmare on Elm Street, 2010, the reboot, directed by Samuel Bayer, starring Rooney Mara, Kyle Gallner, and Thomas Dekker.
This is the 2010 reboot?
Mm-hmm.
So Keith wrote a blog about this and how the reboot, not necessary. Mm-hmm. And I trust Keith's opinion very much. So I'm going to go ahead and say Robert Zombie's flick, H2.
You're correct.
Oh, baby.
So you got 4 out of 6. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah. Halloween has a much worse track record than Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, apparently.
Not that Nightmare on Elm Street got better than average scores, but slightly better.
Hey, I got a quick question for you. Of what I would consider the original slasher, like the big hitters, I'd say there's 5, right? I'd say there's Friday the 13th, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, and I don't know where I had the idea that there was a 5th, but
you said Child's Play before.
Yes, Child's Play is the other one. Which of those, of what you have seen thus far, which of those series do you enjoy the most? And why?
I don't know. I think it's kind of a tie between Nightmare on Elm Street and Child's Play, because it's just more creative. Like, there's lots of more ways you can go with it. And I think the villains are both like about on par with each other in terms of interesting and menace.
Yeah.
Like,
I really appreciate Child's Play and how fucking disturbing that movie actually is.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like I can get behind the comedy of all the rest of the Child's Plays and the cultish kind of feel of it. You know, the runner-up for me is definitely Friday the 13th. While I've only seen a handful of them, like specifically the first 2 are so good. I really enjoyed them a lot. So
yeah, I think most slashers just blend in together. I think like it just has to have an added element for me. If it's just a guy killing people,
yeah,
I don't know. Oh, God.
I'm gonna fart on Bryce here.
All right, let's wrap up so we can get out of this hellhole of a fart-infested.
We got to record the afterpod.
God damn it. Thanks for listening. I don't know what it is about, I just always assume that, this one will be a quick one, and then we hit like an hour 30 anyways.
Yeah, it's just the way it is.
Well, we had to tell the Great White Hunter story. So, thanks for listening. I know there's not a lot of people listening at this point.
Hey, if you guys want some access to some good content, I'm going to tell a story on the Afterpod about how my wife fucked up our children real good. She didn't, It was just a 3-year-old that she gave a scary book to and thinking it would help. But it's a good... So check out our Patreon for that.
Yeah, so if you want that, go to Patreon and sign up for one of the tiers that gets access to the afterpods. Please, if you enjoyed the show, share this podcast with a friend. It's really hard to discover podcasts. So if you like a podcast, it's really important for listeners to share it with people and mention it. Also, we would love if you would leave a rating on Apple Podcasts. You don't even have to leave a review. Just a rating would be great. Just smash those stars.
Smash that like button, ring that bell.
If you're going to buy anything on Amazon coming up, go to horrormovietalk.com and click through on the Buy on Amazon button, just so we can get a little taste of that.
Bookmark that button, baby.
Check out Shudder.com. Use HMT at checkout to get a 30-day free trial.
That covers all of Halloween, bitches.
Mm-hmm.
Do it.
And so please join us again next week, where we'll be talking about...
I believe it's Pumpkinhead.
Pumpkinhead.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, the low on the totem pole slasher monster flick.
Yeah.
That doesn't get enough respect, is what I'm told. I haven't seen it, but we'll review that next week.
Right. Thanks again to our patrons for being so generous and supporting the show. You are rock stars. And until next time, this was Horror Movie Talk.
Get yeeted on.
We'll see you on the flippity-floppity flip.
Take that shit and yeet it.